When people think about landfills, they usually imagine a distant, contained space where trash is buried and forgotten. But the reality is far more complex and far more unsettling. Some garbage dumps are so massive, so active, and so deeply tied to human survival that they function almost like cities of their own. Today, we're going inside the world's largest garbage dump, a place where millions of tons of waste meet thousands of people trying to make a living from what others throw away. To understand the scale, consider this. The world produces over 2 billion tons of waste every year. A significant portion of that ends up in massive landfill sites, especially in developing countries where waste management systems are under pressure or underfunded. One of the most well-known examples is Apex Regional Landfill in the United States, often cited as the largest landfill by area. It spans thousands of acres and receives waste from across the Las Vegas region. But despite its size, it's highly regulated, engineered, and relatively controlled. Now compare that to places like DNR Dumping Ground, one of the oldest and largest open dumps in the world. Here, the situation is very different. Mountains of garbage rise several stories high. Fires burn beneath the surface, sometimes for days or even weeks, releasing toxic smoke into the air. Then there's Jardín Gramacho, which was once the largest landfill in Latin America. At its peak, it received thousands of tons of waste every single day. It became a symbol of both environmental crisis and human resilience. But what truly defines these places isn't just the trash, it's the people. In many of the world's largest dumps, thousands of individuals, often called waste pickers, live and work among the garbage. They sort through plastic, metal, glass, and anything else that can be sold or recycled. For many, this is not a temporary job, it's a way of life. These workers operate in conditions that are extremely dangerous. Sharp objects, toxic chemicals, unstable ground, and constant exposure to smoke and bacteria are part of daily reality. Protective gear is often minimal or non-existent. And yet, despite the risks, these communities form complex systems. There are informal economies, hierarchies, and even social structures built entirely around waste. Some families have worked in these environments for generations. From an environmental perspective, large landfills create serious long-term problems. One of the biggest issues is leachate, a toxic liquid that forms when waste breaks down and mixes with rainwater. If not properly managed, it can seep into the soil and contaminate groundwater supplies for nearby communities. Another major concern is methane gas. As organic waste decomposes, it releases methane, a greenhouse gas far more potent than carbon dioxide in the short term. In poorly managed dumps, methane can build up and cause fires or even explosions. Air pollution is a constant threat. Burning waste, whether intentional or accidental, releases harmful substances, including dioxins and fine particulate matter, which can lead to respiratory diseases and other serious health issues. So why do these massive dumps continue to exist? The answer comes down to a combination of population growth, consumption patterns, and infrastructure challenges. As cities expand and people consume more goods, waste generation increases. Without efficient systems to reduce, recycle, and manage that waste, landfills become the default solution. But there is another side to this story, one that points toward change. In recent years, some of the world's largest dumps have been closed, transformed, or significantly improved. Jardín Gramacho, for example, was officially closed in 2012. Efforts have been made to support former waste pickers through financial compensation and job training programs. Technology is also playing a role. Modern landfills like Apex Regional Landfill are designed to capture methane and convert it into energy. Advanced sorting systems are increasing recycling efficiency, reducing the amount of waste that actually ends up buried. Some cities are even moving towards zero waste goals, aiming to redesign systems so that materials are reused continuously rather than discarded. However, progress is uneven. For every landfill that is improved or closed, others continue to grow, especially in regions where resources are limited. So what does the future look like? If current trends continue, the amount of global waste could increase by 70% by 2050. That means more pressure on existing landfills and a greater need for sustainable solutions. At the same time, awareness is growing. Governments, organizations, and individuals are beginning to recognize that waste is not just a byproduct of modern life, it's a critical issue that affects health, environment, and economic stability. Reducing waste at the source, improving recycling systems, and investing in sustainable materials are all part of the solution. But perhaps the most important shift is in how we think about waste itself. Because once you've seen the inside of the world's largest garbage dumps, it becomes clear there is no away. Everything we throw out goes somewhere. And in many cases, that somewhere is a place where people live, work, and build their lives, surrounded by what the rest of the world has chosen to discard. The question is no longer whether we can ignore it. The question is how long we can afford to ignore it.